All righty. Yes, sir. Welcome aboard. It's a beautiful Thursday. How y'all feeling? Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're aboard and ready to rock and roll. Yes, sir. Thank you all for tuning in on a beautiful Thursday. We got a lot of Dolphins talk to get to. We've got... what's it called? Besides the Dolphins talk, obviously, we've got NBA. We've got, let's see, what else do we have going on? Oh, a bunch of other football things. A little Canes we're going to approach today, too. We got a bunch of things going on today on the program. So appreciate those of you tuning in, those of you downloading the show, which that's the other thing. Wow, Leon, you already bringing it in. I appreciate that. That I want to thank all of you first of all, because we restarted the podcast 3 days ago, and the response has been absolutely amazing. Don't forget we're smashing the like button record every day now. You guys got to like 160 yesterday. Like 140 something the day before. So we got a long way to go, but let's go. Let's break 160. Let's see if we can get to 200 today. That would be cool if we can get into 200 likes today, which would be awesome. But the downloads have been absolutely phenomenal, man. The first couple days here as we got this thing going again. And I appreciate all of you out there for supporting us like you do. We're community based right now, man. Community driven by you guys. So thank you all out there. It's been flattering. I gotta say, because everything that went on, with Onside, and then we got to get back on track and start this. And in a way, it's been, for me, I gotta say personally, I enjoyed doing the podcast so much when we started it, and we did it for a little over a year with Bill, and it took off, man. It was even during a pandemic, it went really, really well, and I'm so proud of it. And then I had the voice issues, and I had the polyp in my vocal cords, and so it really relegated me to just doing Onside, and so I had to kind of put this on the back burner, which sucked, by the way, personally for me. But as time went on, I was a little bit more bitter about not being able to do the podcast. And the last couple of days have been, it's been a really good feeling getting the reception that we're getting from everybody. So that's been absolutely awesome. And I can't thank you guys enough for supporting the show the way you have right from the get-go, and getting back on target and spreading the word, man. Spreading the word. Hitting that like button spreads the word, because that spreads the algorithm. And we've been, piling it on every single day, and it's been awesome. So we've got like, I think what's our mark? I'll tell you what our mark is that we got to try to beat today on the like button. So we'll see if you guys can help us out in topping that. I'll tell you exactly where we were yesterday. Let me see. Here we go. Yesterday, you guys hit 176 on the like button, okay? And the day before, I'm sorry, I think I hit the right one here. The same one here. And the day before, it was 148. So you guys have gone from 148 to 167. So let's see if we can get to 200 likes today. That would be absolutely amazing. And that, of course, would set a record for us here as we restart the podcast. So I really appreciate it, because that's the way we're going to be able to spread the word, is by hitting that like button, doing all the things that you do, subscribe to the show, all of that. And obviously, Leon Fresco chimes in with the first super chat of the day. Leon, thank you, sir, as always. Appreciate you chiming in on the super chat, man. Very nice of you to do that. Thank you all. A little roll call early on. Anthony Manzano was number one, and then Leon came in at number two and obviously dropped in the super chat. He says, keep it up, Big O, and we definitely will. That's the one thing that, I think I've told you this the last couple of days, that The one thing I know, wherever we go next, this is always going to stay part of everything that I do, you know? And now that I got my voice back, now that we got the polyp out of the damn vocal cords, you know, and it was a nervous time, I got to tell you, because when they tell you you got a polyp, you know, you also got to think, wow, is it a bad polyp? You know what I mean? And thank the Lord it wasn't anything serious. It was just a polyp, and it was a quick surgery, and I only had to, you know, maybe stay quiet for a week. Not that I really was quiet for a week, because it's really hard for me to be quiet for a week, but I tried my best. And we're back. So having the voice back, forget it. I'm ready to rock and roll. We're test running our crypto show today, Dono, myself, and Abel. We're gonna, you know, tweak it for the next couple days. Hopefully by late next week, the crypto show will start too. So we'll have that also. I was just going back and forth with some guy named Cardi or something on Twitter, and just didn't understand the whole crypto thing. Ian from Brooklyn is in the house. Big O time he put. Thank you. John Rouse is in the house. The premier reviewer is back, which is a beautiful thing. I need talents like the premier reviewer so he could get me everything through the board, so we don't have to do it this way. Well, hopefully I'll figure this out in the next couple of days. Sometime next week, hopefully we're back to normal, which, like today, I already did the Brian Flores press conference. It's already podcasted, and it's up. So, you know, every day that Flo does a press conference, as you know, I would break it down here on the show, but because everything's not potted through on the YouTube, and I have to do this through the iPad, I can't do sound for you guys and can't talk about certain things. So I do those either before the podcast or after the podcast. I will add extra features to the show, but you don't get it on YouTube. You have to go and subscribe to the podcast, and then you'll get it there. So you can do it that way. But I appreciate it all. I appreciate all of you out there as always. GP Trap Hewitt is in. GP Trap, by the way, that video was screwed up you sent me of the boat almost, you know, knocking the hell out of that dude. Luckily, he had that little crevice that he could sneak through and got away from the hit. But if not, that would have been gory, dude. Would have been disgusting. But hell of a video. Thank you. DJ Gallagher. And he goes, Big O, Gallagher is back. Yes, you are, Gallagher. Thank you, sir. Jose Calderon is in. And he says, so nice to see you back in this platform. So many of you actually like this platform more than anything I've ever done, actually. Whether it's QAM or 640 or whatever, you know, Onside, you name it, Sirius Radio. It's almost like there's more love for doing it this way than any other way. It's really amazing. Thank you so much. Lisa Rose is in the house. Good morning. NorCal is in. Thank you, sir. And GP Trap reminds you to hit that like button, man. Yep, hit that like button. Let's see if we can get it to 200 today. Premier says this is the best format for you, I think, Big O. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoy doing it, as you all know, because I love the back and forth. I always love connecting with our listeners. So I'm definitely, you know, big on this myself. I mean, really, seriously, it only hurt me because of the throat thing is the only reason why. And I had no idea when I stopped it that I had a polyp. And so now we solved that issue. Let's see, Man of 1,005 Holds is in, says, hello, Big O and Big Chat. Everybody here makes me more knowledgeable about sports and life. I thank you all for that. Still learning. We all are learning, Man of 1,005 Holds. None of us have all the answers, okay? We can try to have all the answers. We can try to figure it out, but that's why we are human and we get a lot of things wrong. And, you know, sometimes we need friends and family members to kind of straighten us out a little bit. Premier says, just my opinion. It's a good opinion. I appreciate it. Manuel Malo. There we go. He says, good morning, people. A little Malo. How about the band Malo, right? Suavecito. Great song. For those of you that don't. Malo Suavecito. Look it up, okay? Great freaking tune. And Malo, for those of you that don't know, is that band Malo is led by Carlos Santana's brother. And that was his band. That was their only hit, but it's a great song. Great freaking song. Malo Suavecito. Great song. Whether you're Anglo or Latin, it doesn't matter. You're gonna love the song either way. Trust me on that. Let's see. It's an American song, but it does say Suavecito in it. Let's see. What else do we have? Kelvin Smith is in. Richard Hernandez says, glad you're back. Thank you. Omar Lopez. John Santos is in. Can we have a get-together with you when football season begins? Yeah, let's do that. I think that would be fantastic. I think we should do something of a get-together for this program. Yeah, I think that would be a really cool thing. We got to come up with a place to meet at, but I think it would be fantastic if we can. I would love that. Jeffrey Corner, now that most of us are, vaccinated, okay? And I got something on the vaccination thing, too, that crossed over on the sports side. We'll get to that eventually. Jeffrey's Corner is in. The Tua hate has to stop. The national media is going overboard. Hey, Jeffrey, don't worry about it, bro. Seriously, don't look. Let me start off with this one. The Tua hate thing. I love it. I love the Tua hate. I'll tell you why I love the Tua hate. Because I know so many people are going to be eating their words. I know so many people are going to have to say, well, I was wrong. I was wrong. I got that one wrong. Kid's going to ball out. He's going to be absolutely fantastic. He's going to be the second best quarterback in the history of this team. When it's all said and done. Yeah, he'll be better than Bob. Okay? All right? Bob was a hell of a player. This guy's better. This guy can be better than Bob Greasy. I don't know if he can be better than Dan Marino. Even if he wins a title. Not exactly sure if he's going to be better than Dan Marino because Dan was as special as it gets. The sad part with Dan was he just didn't have enough around him to get it done. But he did all he could on his own to try to make it happen. It's just, unfortunately, Shula could not find the right combination on defense or the right running game, too, to get it going. But I love the Tua hate. I feed off the Tua hate. Because I get to prove people wrong. I usually get to prove their points are, wrong about the kid. So it's like a couple days ago when he throws the 5 interceptions, what did I tell you guys on the show? Is he interception prone? No, he's not. He's never shown that. So that's called an aberration. Now, if you tell me Sam Darnold throws 5 interceptions in a practice, I cringe. Why? Because Sam Darnold's known for throwing 5 interceptions in games all the time, whether he was with the Jets or at USC. You know what I mean? So that's where I think people have to, some of you fans out there that are hardcore, don't worry about it, man. Feed off of it. That's the beauty. Let them underestimate. I've mentioned this many times to Dolphin fans, and this is different than the Tua hate. It's self-hate. Because I've told some Dolphin fans in the past, those of you that have followed this, stop thinking about prior regimes. Because there's a lot of people that are like, well, no, eventually this is going to happen because it's what happens all the time with the Dolphins. That's fine, dude. When we were talking about Sperano, and we're talking about Cam Cameron, and we're talking about Dave Wanstead, and we're talking about, Gase or whatever, any of these terrible coaches that we've had here, I get that. Flo's not these guys. Chris Greer is not the prior regimes. And I've tried to tell people this over and over and over again, and they're already proving me right and proving them wrong. Okay? And I've told, several Dolphin fans, get off that trip. Stop thinking about the past. I get it. We're all tortured. It's been a brutal 25 years, to be honest with you. Since Shula stepped down, I know Jimmy had a little some, but not enough, man. He tried to make it special, and he never made it special. So, for me, it's been a long road for all of us. Okay? And listen, over the years, I've soured several Dolphin fans because I've ripped the team. Why? Because they deserve to get ripped. They were terrible. What do you want me to do? I don't sugarcoat stuff. It is what it is. But from the get-go, I've painted a different picture completely about what's taken over. Because, hell, I'm the guy that wanted Gase and Tannenbaum fired and Greer in place. I'm the only media member in the country that wrote an article for the Athletic, said it on Sirius Radio, and when I had my show at QAM, I said fire these guys and put Chris Greer in place. So obviously I'm going to be more positive than most people about this, but it's proven in time these guys are doing it, man. They're turning it around, and Tua is going to be fantastic. The only worry we could ever have about Tua is durability, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Outside of that, there really is no reason to worry so much about it all. So feed off the hate from others. Save the Twitter posts. All that stuff. So when Tua's balling, you can then reach back to that person and say, well, you changed your mind yet? Well, what's your opinion now? You know what I mean? Your buddy at work that's dissing Tua all the time. When he starts balling, then you can now bring it up. And every week Tua balls, you say, hey, did you watch Tua? Because he threw three touchdowns, no interceptions, 330 yards, and they won. Oh, yeah, I saw it. And then remind them again the following week when he balls out again. Hey, he threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 380 yards, and a win. Did you see that? Oh, yeah, I saw that. I know I'm wrong. And then you keep hammering him again. 3 weeks later, when he throws for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns and a win, you tell him, hey, did you watch Tua again? Because I just want to make sure that you saw him, because, I mean, you went out of your way to bitch and complain about the guy and rip him every single day. So every single week, I want to remind you how good he is. That's it. You will have the last laugh when it's all said and done. Every Doll fan that believes in this kid will get paid handsomely, because this kid will come through. But it just doesn't happen overnight. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Can't build a sports station in 4 months. Anyway, let's see, what else do we have? Matt Walker, hello, sweet hat. Yes, it is, isn't it? The logo, the greatest logo on the planet is what it is. The greatest logo on the planet. All right, let's see. There is an on-site radio route with a major backer. Can use law firm model with each host act as their own profit center. Yeah, I mean, that sounds great in theory. You got to get the people to step up. Okay, that's the key, Leon. I got to get the right people to step up and really want to support. And not only support, what I'm looking for is an active participant as an owner. Somebody that's there fighting with me and helping me put everything together, from promotions to social media to sales to the website to merchandising, live appearances, all the things that you need. You know what I mean? Not just to cast you off on a raft and then, nothing. So it's a lot harder than it seems. Gus1388 says, what's up, people? Guillermo Arauz is in with a good morning. DJ says, we love the platform because of the community like a family. Yes, sir. That's what it is. Mauricio Artiega says, good morning, Big O. Let's see, what else do we have? King Short is in. Who else do I see here? Miami Kid J. John says, this platform is the best. Just you guys can say whatever you want, feel, no one looking over your shoulder. Yeah, no, you're right. Can't argue with that, John. You are 1,000% right. Devin Jordan is in. ATL is in the house. Thank you, sir. Says, big fan of the show. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, sir. M. Shepard, missed you, Big O. If Tia can't stop top 10, we're going to have a good year. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? I hope you're right, Big O. My fear is that Tua is coming with a lot of pressure, and sometimes pressure bust pipes, especially with young QBs. Let's hope not. Yeah, but he's been out of Alabama, dude. He's been in pressure situations where he's got to win. He's come off the bench to save people's asses. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it at all. I've only had one concern with the kid, and that's durability. I'm not concerned with his talent. I'm not worried about his intelligence. I'm not worried about his work ethic. I'm not worried about any of that. He's a rookie. He will learn, he will adjust, and he will grow like hell. Okay? Just like our likes are growing. Appreciate it. Keep those likes up, man. It's a beautiful thing watching it grow. Tom Flores is in. Thomas, thank you, sir, for joining us. Hirberto Maldonado says, the best ripping was when we spent all the money in free agency on LBS and we still sucked. Julio, let's see, Tremolio, the Mavericks. Okay, I don't know what that means. But Julio, welcome aboard. Eddie Lepp says, good to see you. Miss watching you live the past few days, but did catch up on the podcast. We're here with you, buddy. Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate that, man. That means the world, really. It does. DJ Melao says, Big O, the panic pussies are going crazy. Yep, they are, aren't they? But don't worry about it. It's all right. We'll get the last laugh. George Albanese is in. Irberto Maldonado. Thank you, sir. Irberto Maldonado chimes in with a super chat. Thank you, sir. Very nice of you. Appreciate it. Big O, your voice is Finn's talk to me. I'm 35, and my best memories growing up a Finn's fan was tailgating, eating pigskin, and Big O show. Thank you, bro. That's very kind of you, man. Very kind. Angel Peña is in. Congrats, Big O, with the new show. Well, it's the old show that we revived. But thank you. I appreciate it. Antonio Gutierrez is in. Antonio, good to see you, my man. George, Big O, what happened with Onside? George, it's a long story. Well, it's right here on YouTube. There's a post about a week ago on it, and then you can also go to the first show. But yeah, it's unfortunately, man, just not the right fit. And that's it. So we move on, we part ways, and it is what it is, man. We try to find the right person so we can do it. Any chance of seeing Bill on the show again sometime soon? Dougie Fresh, yes. There is a chance, but I have to create stability here. And right now there isn't stability. I haven't even had time to get sponsors for this show. I mean, right now this show is driven by you guys, by community base, period, man, is how we're surviving right now. So, yeah, I'm in transition, and so I have to create a stable environment. Bill needs a stable environment, and that's why he's got, a job right now. But I would love to bring him back and work with me here every day, but it's got to be in a way where the man can make a living, you know what I mean? And so I've got to try to make a living off of all of this. So yes, it's not easy, man. So I just restarted this, and I got to get it going again and build it up again. New York City Sports says, Big O, love the show. Been listening to your show since I found you on Mad Dog Radio. Wish you still did weekends on Mad Dog Radio, though, in addition to this show. But then you got me working 7 days a week, bro. You're gonna tire me out, man. Robert Pereira, I believe is how it's pronounced. Good to hear the show. Thank you, sir. Robert Rebel, great hatto. Thank you. Tremolio says top 5 QBs in Finn's history: George Myra, Cleo Lemon, Joey Harrington, Ray Lucas, and John Beck. Big Rig is in. Big O. And all the chats, saludos. Yes. Let's see, what else do we have here? And there we go. So I went through a roll call there. Got 62 listening, 51 likes. Let's build that baby up. And thank you already for the super chats that have chimed in. Always appreciate it, man. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Ender Fireplace says, nice hat, Big O. Thank you. I felt like having a little dolphin action today on the show. Although there's dolphin action back there. All right, we got Dolphin, Inter, Spidey. We got Strikers. There's the Miami Soul. You know I got soul when I got the Miami Soul. So you know I'm all about Miami. I mean, who the hell else is going to put a Miami Soul flag, right? Nobody, right? And it's just only our show would have that craziness right there because we're all about the local teams. No matter what it is, even if they're not here anymore, okay? I've got a Hooters helmet, all right? I am not joking. I swear to you, I have a Hooters helmet downstairs. I have several helmets that I have in my man cave, and one of them is the Hooters helmet actually because it's a collector's item, man, and it's a former team that was here, even though it was arena football, but it is what it is. JDM Wizard, thank you. Thank you very much. I did get it right, Wizard, the JDM part. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. And he writes in, I know it's early, but if you take a guess, which rookie do you think has the easiest transition? And he says, question for the audience too, which of course the audience is always involved. The rookie that has the easiest transition for the Miami Dolphins. That's a good one. Eichenberg, it's tough because offensive line is always a really tough adjustment. The tight end, also that one could be one that he could be there. I'm thinking about Jalen Waddle. And maybe Jalen Waddle might be the guy that, believe it or not, because I say this because Will Fuller's established, teams know him, and so they've got to worry about him because he's a blazer. And then, if Devontae Parker is healthy, he can be a force. And then Gesicki is already a really good tight end. So all of a sudden now, Jalen Waddle doesn't come in with a lot of hype early on. And because he's a rook, well, they're going to cover him one-on-one. And when you're playing against the slot guy, usually that's, the third best corner on your team. And so now all of a sudden you're facing the third best corner on the team. So, Jalen Waddle might be the guy, and he's played with Tua. So there's familiarity there. He already knows Waddle's game speed. So, and there's no doubt in my mind that you can bet your ass on this, that the offensive coordinators for the Dolphins have gone back to the Alabama tape and they've looked at what Waddle and Tua hooked up with. What kind of routes were the ones that were really favorable in their connection. You know what? I'm gonna say Jalen Waddle is the guy, because Waddle is the guy that comes in with a complementary field. See, Eichenberg still has young linemen next to him, so that will still be a challenge for him and for the young guys that are still developing on this team. Hunter Long, he's already got an established tight end in front of him, so he'll be kind of complimentary when it's all said and done. Yeah, I listen, I'm a big fan of Javon Holland, but it's still, although I got to say, Holland also has got established corners. He's got an established safety. So maybe Holland would be a close second, because he's also a really smart and versatile kid. So that would also help out. I'm gonna say it's Jalen Waddle. When it's all said and done, I'm gonna say Jalen Waddle because of the complementary players around him will take pressure off of him already as it is. So I can see Waddle making the easier transition out of all of them. All right, I'll go with that. What else do we have here? Put some respect on Cleo Lemon's name, bro. Pipe Man Slim says, only logo I wear, great cap. Big O. I don't wear the new logo. I won't wear it. I refuse to wear it. Don't like it. I hate it. I can't stand it. I think it's crap, actually. Okay? It's crap like that Marlins logo that these idiots Loria had that looked like the Maroon 5 logo. No, no, no. Yeah, I can't stand that Dolphins logo. I think it looks like shit. Okay? Let me just be honest. And I've told these stories before. I'm doing a show for QAM over at the training facility, and they're really nice. They come over and they give me and Brandon Rodriguez, who was my producer then, and they give each of us a shirt and a hat. And so when the guy walks away, I turn to Brandon and I gave him the shirt and the hat. So he had 2 hats and 2 shirts. Why? Because they were new logos. I want nothing to do with them. You give me some with the old logo, brother. I'll put the old logo in my shower. I'll put it on my car. I'll put it on my house. Put it on my damn roof so planes can see it. I'll put this logo anywhere, bro. This is one of the greatest logos of all time. This thing is badass. How do you go from this to the whale? Are you out of your mind? So yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Only logo I ordered an umbrella with the old logo on it, okay, from Amazon, and I get the umbrella, and it's the new logo. Immediately, I get on Amazon, and they're really good. I got to give them credit. That's why I buy a lot at Amazon. Going to malls nowadays, you risk your life. I mean, man, you can't go anywhere nowadays with shootings everywhere. But anyway, so I get the umbrella, and I call right away. And I send an email right away. I said, hey, man, you guys show the old logo, not the new logo. Where is the old logo? I ordered it for the old logo. I want my money back. I'll return the umbrella. So they sent me back an email by the next day. They were really quick. And they said, we apologize. Keep that umbrella. We will now send you the umbrella with the old logo. Because they probably thought, oh, no, send them the new logo because they probably want the new logo. And no, dude, no respectable Dolphin fan wants the new logo. You want that logo. That logo every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Okay? That logo right there, bro. That's the logo that means something. So, yeah. And so I got my umbrella with the old logo. And now I'm happy. Hate that new logo. Cap for life, sir. Thank you. Cap for life chiming in on a super chat. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's all about the logo, bro. That's what he says. I'm with you, man. Tell it, bring back the white throwback jerseys. That's all coming back. We talked about that the other day. It's all coming back. Big O, when is the last year for that BS logo? Hopefully, within the next couple seasons here, it's the end of it, man. And hopefully they bring back the old logo. It would be really, really nice if they can do that. So we got a bunch of things to talk about, as always, on the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. It's funny, we've done a half hour already on the show, which is absolutely amazing. Good stuff last night in the NBA playoffs. Hawks, that was a nice game by them, man. Trae Young is, I got to tell you, man, he is, I was so wrong about that kid. So wrong about Trae Young. Because I thought he was going to be that guy that jacks up 50 shots and scores 30 points, but, you know, it wasn't going to be efficient, because that's kind of what I saw from him almost at Oklahoma, and it's not, man. And he's a damn good player. He's impossible to defend. He could get a shot at any time. He's tough as nails. He does remind me a little bit of Allen Iverson in that sense, that he's a thin guy, not a big guy, small guy, not a tall guy, yet he will get in there. And I know that he's not playing with the same physical presence that Allen Iverson had to deal with, because Allen, when he went into the paint, they were hammering people in those days. It was old school basketball in those days. So it's a little different. I completely understand that. But I still do liken him a little bit to AI, but actually he could end up becoming a better player. He's definitely a way better shooter than AI. Way better shooter than AI. It's not even close. AI was not an efficient shooter. This kid's efficient. and he sets people up. Yesterday, what was it? 7 assists, 3 steals in the process. You got to like the kid, man. And I still say John Collins. I know they're going to keep him. And the worst thing that happened to Miami this year is the out in the first round, because it doesn't look like you made any progress. It looks like you regressed, in other words, and that last year was a fluke. And so you're not going to be nearly as attractive as some Heat fans would get. And I'll get to that conversation down the line. But nice win by the Hawks to take a 3-2 lead. Clippers, how about the Jazz screwing it up yesterday, man? Wow, dude. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, brother, you cannot shoot 6 of 19 and 4 of 14 in a series where you've got the Clippers where you want them. And I thought, by the way, I know Paul George had a decent game, a good game in 37 points, but I didn't think he was great in the second half. He added some points towards the end. I thought Reggie Jackson was the guy that hit a bunch of monster shots last night. But the Clips with a big win to take a 3-2 lead. I thought the Jazz royally screwed that up. Now they've got to win the next two. Tonight, Nets and Bucks, and the Brooklyn Nets have a 3-2 lead in this one. We'll see what happens there. So that's what we got going on in the NBA playoffs. St. Louis beat the Marlins yesterday. I feel so bad for these young Marlins, man. Alcantara had a nice outing again, 8 1/3, 6 hits, 7 Ks, 3.09 ERA, no run support. They lose to St. Louis 1-0. They're off today. Friday they start a set against the Cubs. So we got that going on. That's some of the stuff in the NBA and locally, obviously. A man of 1,005 volts says Jazz can't play defense. Yeah, outside of Rudy Gobert, you are correct. They're not a good defensive squad. You're right about that. That's a terrific point on your part. Can't argue with that one. NorCal says, I think they tweaked the new logo coloring in 2018, so in 2023 they can change it, I think. Yeah, I know it's coming. I'm sure of it, it's coming. I had an interview with Tom Garfinkel, I don't know, it was like about a year ago. It's there, it's in the podcast somewhere. And listen to that interview. Go find the Tom Garfinkel interview on our podcast here. And you can tell after that conversation that something's brewing. You can tell that he knows they need to change the logo. Just listen to that interview. Listen to it, and he doesn't say it directly, but maybe he gave it away. And I don't think he tried to give it away, but he might have given it away indirectly in that interview. Go listen to that Tom Garfinkel interview. I don't know when it was. It was like a year ago, something like that. Just scroll down in the podcast there, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, whatever you use. And you'll find that interview. Listen to that Tom Garfinkel interview. And we go heavy into the logo. And he pretty much answers it there, if you listen to it. King says, yeah, Jimmy Johnson came in, disrespected Shula, ruined the end of Marino's career, and tried to make us look like the cowgirls with the blue shirts on in the new logo at the time. Yeah, except they didn't have the Cowboys offensive line. I always said that about Jimmy. He wanted to play Cowboys football without the Cowboys talent in Miami. He wanted to run Kareem Abdul-Jabbar 400 times, and that's why he could only score from 1 yard out, because they didn't have the line. So you weren't supposed to do what you... I mean, that's old stuff already. I don't even want to rehash all the sorry-ass stuff that Jimmy Johnson did and kind of ruining and disrespecting Shula in the end and disrespecting the end of Marino's career, too. That was the other thing. Can I tell you the most twisted part of all of this? In hindsight, when Jimmy took over, the best thing would have been to trade Dan Marino. Seriously. Pittsburgh, Minnesota, whatever it was going to be down the line, if somebody was ready to take him on and have a championship caliber team, instead of having him to deal with the embarrassment for 4 years with Jimmy and then to end it with 62-7, which Marino does not deserve to have his career ended that way, I'd almost rather have him end his career the way, the guy that Bill Lindsay scored the goal on was traded from Pittsburgh to the Avalanche, and he ended up winning a title because the Bruins were a terrible team and mediocre pretty much throughout his Hall of Fame career. And Lindsay scored the greatest goal in history for the Panthers. Can somebody give me the damn name, please? We got enough people listening. What's the damn name of the hockey player now that got traded? Legendary player, man. He's a Hall of Famer from Boston. And they did the decent thing in Boston where they traded him to the Avalanche, and they were a Stanley Cup caliber team, and he ends up winning the title with them. And I'm brain farting right now, and I cannot think of that man's name. And he's the same guy that Lindsay scored the goal on in the playoffs, which is still to this day the greatest goal in Panther history. This year, maybe the second greatest goal happened, actually. Ray Bourque. Thank you. Who put Ray Bourque there? Somebody put Ray Bourque. Miami Kid J, you retracted it? No, I think you're right. It was Ray Bourque. I'm pretty sure you're right. I think it was Ray Bourque that was traded from Boston to the Avalanche. I think you're right. Yeah. So you're right. That was it. It was Ray Bourque. Thank you. Can't remember everything. You always have these brain farts right when you want to remember these little nuggets of life and things that happened, and you're like, oh, yeah, who was that? Who was that again? Oh, yeah, that was him. Yeah, exactly. I get 67 on, 67 likes. That is strong right there. That is absolutely freaking strong, man. You guys are awesome, man. So thank you very much. Appreciate you all out there. So yeah, Ray Bourque. That was a class. I almost feel like that would have been the classy thing to do to Dan Marino, is trade him at that moment to a team that actually is a contender and has a chance, and maybe he would have retired with a title. And at least I would have been happy for Marino that he got the Super Bowl title. And think about this. If you're a Dolphin fan, answer this question for me, okay? All right? And if you're old enough to be a Dolphin, you got to be a Dolphins fan that lived the Marino era pretty much. Would you rather see him end his career the way he did with Jimmy and 62-7, or get traded when Jimmy comes in and he goes somewhere else where he legitimately has a chance for a title during those 4 years? And maybe he does win a title during those 4 years. For me personally, as a Dolphins fan, as a guy that loves Dan Marino, almost as much as I love my dogs and my wife, and my daughter, of course, I would have been more happy for Dan that he would have gotten the title. I think a Bruins fan also felt good for Ray Bourque, who gave you his all, but they just didn't have the organization to allow him to enjoy a championship. And the Dolphins didn't do the same thing. And to watch Jimmy take away all the audibles, and to watch him trade away and cut all the talent around him and limit that offense the way he did, that to me was painful. And I went up to Jacksonville to cover that 62-7 game, okay? In fact, those 4 years, I went to several road games in New England and games in Buffalo and the Jets. I went to several games during that time on the road and everything. And I got to tell you that I'd rather see Dan Marino win a title in those final 4 years, or have a chance at it, than to watch him, because I covered him, man, and I was in those locker rooms, and those press conferences were uncomfortable with Dan having to talk about the team and Jimmy and taking away the audibles and the losing and all of that, and Jimmy's punk ass. After he lost 62-7, he stuck his tail between his legs and didn't answer the media's questions. Meanwhile, Marino was a freaking mensch, and he stands there in front of that podium, and he takes all those questions, and the poor man's arm was broken down, had the spurs, all that stuff, had the limited offense, and at least he was a man throughout that whole process. I give him credit for being a man during that process. but I almost feel like I would have rather have seen him go elsewhere for 4 years and have a shot at a title and a team that actually was going to support him. That, to me, that would, as a Dolphins fan, I would have rather seen him go somewhere else. You know, so that's just me. But you know, I want what's best for Marino. Big O, are you going to sell crypto in the next big spike? No, sir, Bromar. I am not selling crypto for a long, long time. I don't think I'm going to be selling any crypto till 2022. Okay? Now, this is not advice. I'm not suggesting anything. Bromar, the only crypto that I may sell in the next 6 months, okay, before 2021, let's say, would be Shiba. I'm not telling you to invest in Shiba at all, but I put some money in Shiba, money that I'm willing to lose, that I don't care about, but Shiba's in the thousands of the dollar, you know, or of the penny. You know, it's 5 zeros before the first number starts behind the dot. So if it gets to half a cent or 1 cent, I'm making jingle. So yes, that's the one that I will, because it's a meme coin, although it has way more usage than Doge. Doge has 0 usage, whereas Shiba, they're building a blockchain. The swap is about to come out. They're going to put NFTs on there. There's actually some work being put on Shiba that they cannot do at all with Doge. Doge is pretty much useless, but it's a meme coin, and it's blown up, and it's stayed at the 30 cents mark, you know, during this whole drop. So if Doge can do that, then I'm thinking the world could get behind Shiba also. Look, it's going to be added to Coinbase now. Binance says they're about to add it. Robinhood is next. PayPal is also on the way. Once Shiba gets added to all of that, if it blows up, and I'm talking about blows up, that it gets to the point that it's a penny or 2 pennies or 3 pennies, I'm getting the hell out. Okay? And I bought a bunch of shares of that. Now, again, I'm not telling anybody to do anything, because I would never tell you to invest in something that crazy. I'll tell you to invest in Cardano. I'll tell you to invest in VeChain. I'll tell you to invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum and in Matic and in Stellar. I'll tell you to invest in really good companies, okay? And I'm not a financial advisor, but I would never tell you to go into Shiba, okay? Because it's the complete unknown, all right? But Shiba burned their coins. They burned half of their coins, okay? And so they are kind of, they're setting themselves up, whereas Doge is unlimited printing, kind of like the US dollar. That has a chance. So that's the one coin, okay, that I will tell you that I might actually trade before the year is out, because if it does climb, I'm afraid of it coming back down again. So I would get out right away. But everything else I invest in long-term companies. I don't invest on stuff I don't do pump and dumps. I'm not rich, man. I can't play that game and take the chances. I study these companies, and if they have what I feel is great ownership, great support, all that kind of stuff, then I'm in it for the long haul, you know? So I will start taking profits off the top. That's what I'll do. But I'm not going to sell out completely or anything like that. I can see in 2022 that I start to take some profits off the top of Ethereum and off Bitcoin and all that, because I expect Bitcoin to explode in the second half of this year. I expect Ethereum to get, I told you 5,000. I think it's going to get to 7 to 10 now by the end of the year. You know what I mean? EPPI is about to come out now. Once they get that going, that'll lower the gas fees, and their transaction rates are going to go through the roof. All right, Cardano's about to add Goguen. All right, there's a lot of these things that I'm holding for long term, because I see long term growth in a lot of these. So I'm not going to miss out on the profits that I can make down the line. But what you do is you invest in great coins, And then you patiently wait. You don't panic. Like right now, I have bought the dip, and I'm already making money on some of them because they all went up already. And so I'm already making money on those. And once they go back to their normal numbers and surpass that, then I'm making even more. You know what I mean? But that's what you have to do. You have to be patient in this game because you're going to have volatile dips. The good thing about crypto, and I've told people this, because it's so new, it's so young, we're only 12 years into this. As the years go on, in the next 10 years, the volatile dips will be smaller and smaller and smaller because more big money is going to come in, more stable money is going to come in, so you'll have less people that will believe the stupid FUD that's been out there, and they panic and they sell, and they bought Bitcoin at 55,000 and sold it at 35, and they lost their ass because they think it's going to go to 10 or 0, which is ridiculous. You know what I mean? But they believe the bullshit that's out there. And that's the problem. Elon Musk says he doesn't take Bitcoin, and now he says he's going to take Bitcoin once they're all cleaned up, which he could have said that from the beginning. He says, hey, I need Bitcoin to get cleaner, and that's it. Instead, he puts that out there. It drops. He probably bought more Bitcoin behind the scenes. That's what's going on. JP Morgan, a year ago, says Bitcoin is not an asset. This year, it's an asset now, they say, and they're going to add more. And they're all adding now Ethereum. All these investment firms that were all dissing it because now they know what the future is. It's cryptocurrency. So there you go. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay. Let's see. Big O, you heard Jeff Saturday from ESPN's take on Tua. Clown all around us. I did not see it. I'd have to see. I can't react on something I haven't seen. Eddie Lepp says, I love Marino. I was 10 when he started his career. I grew up with him as my QB. As much as it hurts me seeing him end his career the way he did, it would have hurt me more to see him in another uniform. Oh, no, Eddie, I'm sorry. I disagree with you wholeheartedly there. I want what's best for him. It's not about me, man. It shouldn't be about you. You can't want him to end the career the way he did those last 4 years. You want him to suffer because we suffered? Nah, I would want him to win a title. I would be happy for him winning a title. I would be really happy for him because if you know your team's not going anywhere, and the guy has given you everything, and he only has a little bit left in the tank, I'd like for him to have at least that shot at winning the title. So I disagree with you. I would never do that. Do you think the run game for the Dolphins will improve this upcoming season? I feel that Coach Flo doesn't draft top running backs. All right, so let me get into the running back talk here, and let me explain something to you. This is my theory, okay? My theory only. I'm going to tell you what I think the Dolphins are doing right now when it's all said and done, okay? I think the Dolphins purposely don't care about drafting a running back in these first couple years. Let me tell you why. You're trying to develop a quarterback. You're trying to develop an offensive line. In the process, your running back's going to take a beating because blockers aren't going to know all their assignments. They're going to make mistakes. They're young. They're not good enough at the moment. They're not strong enough. All these things that all offensive linemen have to go through when they come from college to the NFL, they realize, holy shit, I got to hit the weight room a lot more. Holy crap, I got to really study my film. Holy crap, I've got more assignments and a bigger playbook to learn here than I did there. Everything becomes bigger. The responsibilities, everything. So your running back, you're going to wear him out. You're going to make him take shots. And here's the thing about running backs. What's changed in this NFL? No longer is the bell cow. What they do with Derrick Henry in Tennessee, as you all know, that's not the norm anymore. That was the norm when a lot of us were kids. You had a bell cow, right? One guy that would carry the ball 350 times a year. You know what I mean? No, those days are done. It's a carousel of backs. These guys come from New England, so they love the carousel of backs also. I believe they didn't want to draft a top back yet because they're still breaking in the line. They're still breaking in the quarterback. So why have a running back waste his body and his mileage in the first couple years taking hits he doesn't have to take. I think they're going to go for the running back this coming year, next year in 2022. Why? Because it's year 4. Your linemen by the end of this season should be seasoned enough already. Your quarterback should be comfortable as hell already, and you should be a Super Bowl contender coming up. Because I believe you're going to be a playoff team this year. I believe you win 11 games this year or more, okay? I believe this is going to be a pretty good team overall when it's all said and done. But in the process, first develop the team. And then this is the second part of it, okay? Unless you draft a Todd Gurley with no injuries, an Ezekiel Elliott, not a head case, a Saquon Barkley that stays healthy, a Derrick Henry, unless you draft a freak, listen to me, unless you draft a freak, your running back's on one contract. If you draft him in the first round, use him for 5 years, maybe tag him for a 6th year, and then let his ass go. And don't give him an extra deal. Because it's just you wear him out, you go get another one. Unless you draft an ultimate freak that you say, okay, well, we can have him for a second contract. You know, he can reach 9-10 years, and then we can unload. Running backs aren't staying with your team 12, 13, 14 years anymore. They don't even stay with your team 10. Okay? Those days are done. So you got to be careful, because if you're going to spend a high pick, there's a good chance you're only keeping him around for one contract. Maybe a tag to add a 6th year or something. That's it. So if that's the thinking, why waste half of his career in the development of your team? See what I mean? Again, just a theory on my part. I have no proof here. I don't have any extra insight. Flo and Chris Greer aren't calling me, telling me, hey, really, this is what we want to do. It's just kind of a feel I'm getting, that they're not putting a lot of expectation on that at the moment. I think when they feel their team is right, then they'll go after that young back that they think is really good coming out of the draft and that can add something to what they already have. Okay? But it's a guy that can, at least for the next 4 years or 5, he's going to be part of your playoff to Super Bowl run because your team is ready to go. Okay? So that's just my story, and I'm sticking to it, and I think that that's what's going on. And that's why you haven't seen the running back be a priority yet, because they're trying to build everything else in the foundation. Running backs are a dime a dozen. You can find one. That's not hard to find. Quarterbacks are hard to find. As you all know, since we haven't had one since Marino, quarterbacks are hard to find. Hopefully we got ours with Tua. I believe we have the quarterback for the future. So I think that's what's going on. All right, don't forget, keep smashing that like button. You guys are already up to 75, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. I love it, man. Appreciate you all out there. Let's see. What else do we have here on the text line? Jimmy had Herschel-type trade in place with Vikings, but Wayne, where he put Wayne Hypinga blocked it. You're right. You're right. You're right. Bromar says, Big O, take out your initial investment, then let the profits ride. Yes. Yeah, but I'm not going to take out all my initial investment. I don't think I'll take out all my initial investment early. I think I'm going to take out is 20% and then wait again. And listen, I'm hoping, if everything goes well, then I'll take out more and more, and I'll take percentages out along the way and get to the point where I've taken out my investment, and then obviously I'm just enjoying on profits. I agree, Big O, on trading Marino, but back then, though, I selfishly only wanted to see him win in a Dolphins uniform and was led to believe it was possible by my Dolphin blinders. Now older and wiser. Exactly. George, I'm with you 100% on that. That's logic right there. Has anyone in the major media mentioned Tua's 6 touchdowns from yesterday? No, they just said he played better. I'm with you, they should let Jimmy trade him so we have gotten better and give him a shot at the Super Bowl. Exactly. Although Jimmy sucked offensively. So he might have not done well with those picks. He did great defensively, but boy, he was as good as he was on defense. That's how bad he was on offense. Same level. Oh, since I was your intern, running backs are the position that are the biggest revolving door. Flash in the pan, catch the flash while you can. I got you. You are correct, sir. You are correct. Let's see. Joe says, great effort for the running backs will be fine. Just get a handful of yards on each carry. Listen, as long as the offensive line improves and the quarterback's playing well, Myles Gaskin and company will be very productive. Are they going to be dominant? Are they going to be Derrick Henry? Are they going to be Saquon Barkley? No, I'm not going to tell you that, man. You know what I mean? But they'll be good. They'll be fine. Let's see. What else do we have here? Howdy, y'all. Let me know once you start the live feed at Acura Pembroke Pines. Have some goodies to drop off for you. Live close. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. Hopefully we will have that set. I'm waiting to see what happens with Onside before I do anything with this show right now. I don't want to confuse our sponsors. Big O, buy Cardano, better than Ethereum and Stellar Lumens, point of sale and fast. Machete Mambi, I've already been in Cardano. I'm heavily into Cardano, but I have Ethereum too. I've had Ethereum for a long time. I'm big on both, dude. I'm big on Matic, which is Polygon. I'm big on VeChain. Okay. What else I'll give you my portfolio. I'll tell you what I'm invested in. Okay. Give you a quick rundown here, really quick, because some of you are not into crypto, and our crypto show will be coming soon. I'm into Crow, Polygon, Stellar, Venus, Decentraland, Pancake Swap, Reserve Rights, VeChain, Uniswap, Thorchain, Bancor, IOST, Terra, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, Binance Coin, Engine Coin, and Harmony. Okay? Those are the ones that I'm in. And then on my Gate.io, I'm in Theta, Cody, Chiliz, which they're about to add it now to Coinbase, by the way. Chiliz. I like that one. Aozi, BitTorrent, Ecomi, Veracity, StormX, Zilliqa, Chain Games, and there you go. Okay? Those are the ones that I'm invested in. All right? Not all the same, but I love all of those coins and those companies that I've invested in. All right? Let's see. 85, I believe we would have beat the Bears if they beat New England in the AFC Championship game. I agree with you on that. They couldn't. They had the kryptonite for the Bears defense. The Bears defense could not cover Marino and the receivers. Marino and the receivers were going to have a field day against Fensick and the boys. I completely agree. Machete says Cardano will be bigger than Ethereum. Maybe. King Short says, damn, investing bags. Not really. It's just, you slowly but surely add. And during this consolidation period over the last couple of weeks, I've added more. Because while everybody has the FUD and they're all talking crap that they don't know, I've bought low and continue to buy low. Stellar right now is still at 33 cents, I think 32 cents. It's a joke. Thing was at 70 cents, 70 something, I think 77. So you're going to double your money shortly. You put $1,000 in Stellar, in a month or two, you're going to have $2,000. Because it's going to go back up to 77 cents and surpass it. Damn it, they just cut a deal with Visa. Again, it's just one of those things you got to know. You got to follow. Anyway, so let's get into, wow, we're already an hour in. That's freaking amazing. Already an hour in. Love it. And keep smashing that like button, baby. That like button is so important to keep smashing. I'm telling you, We need that. That is an enormous thing that you can do for the show is smash the like button. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share the show, this live link. Share it with a friend. Send it to them on Twitter. Send it to them on Facebook. Send it to them on text. Whatever. Remind them that they've got a show that we talk local sports, actually. And, we can get into it here on this show compared to other places. And some of you are probably loving this newer part of the format where there are no breaks. Where it's just straight talk. Straight talk for an hour and 5 minutes already. And not a lot of people can do that kind of stuff. But anyway, we got a bunch of things to talk about. And if you missed Flo's press conference, it's already on our podcast. So you can go to it. I have Flo's press conference and obviously my breakdown and comments and all the things that he said. But let me break down some other things separate from that we can talk about. So one of the things that came out today, and again, I think people have to understand Flo's really smart and he knows how to handle his players. And I think he's proven that over time. And the center battle, which, most people think it's Matt Skura's job for the taking, and it should be, by the way. Matt Skura should be your starter, right? But it looks like Michael Dieter is in the mix, and Cameron Tom is the other guy that's in the mix. I don't think Cameron Tom has a shot, but again, if you listen to the press conference, Coach gives everybody the respect because he's got to keep that carrot dangling in front. But as for Michael Dieter, and this is the important thing about Michael Dieter, this is the make or break year for Michael Dieter. He's got to get it done now. And the guard spots have dried up on him because they've kind of moved on. So now it's up to him to battle Matt Skura for that center spot. And Dieter is going into his third year. That's not a panic thing. Lots of linemen take 2-3 years to develop. Sometimes they might even take 4. Okay? Paul Soli, I remember, was pretty much useless the first 3 years. It's his 4th year where he really started to show the growth, like, whoa, this guy's becoming a player, and then he really exploded. So it sometimes it happens when linemen, offense, defense, it takes them a little while. Not everybody comes in and starts balling out right away, and especially third rounders. Third rounders probably usually take time. So, and Michael Dieter did not play a ton last year. So he didn't get an off season and didn't get time to develop. So this year he's going to be in the middle of a battle for center. And they're alternating those guys. And so for Michael Dieter, it's make or break, baby. This is it right here. And he's gotta have that urgency. The coach says he has that urgency. And he should have that urgency. Because your career starts to take a nosedive after this season if you don't come through. That's the thing about Dieter. If he doesn't come through this year, if he doesn't take the job away from Matt Skura, he will now get cut and he will become a journeyman offensive lineman that teams will sign to be training camp fodder or just another body on the team. And if he doesn't want to be that guy and he wants to be a guy that is counted on, a guy that starts, this is his time to shine now. He's got to find a way to become the starting center for the Miami Dolphins. And I'll tell you this, I think it would be awesome in many, many ways. One, obviously for the kid, because he's had to fight through all the adversity. Hell, they had him play tackle for a short time, 2 years ago. And I give him credit for that because he never complained. He moved around. He did whatever he had to. Unlike Minka Bitch, who was complaining because they wanted to move him around, this guy played guard. He's going to compete at center. He's going to play a little tackle because he had to fill in and help out in an injury, all that stuff. And the kid has been a soldier for the team. But now it's time for him to step up and become a player. And this is the part that's interesting about this competition going into training camp when it starts later this month, because Dieter is a kid that was your third-round pick. And that's the other thing for the front office. If you can hit on Dieter, then that's a third-round pick that you hit on. You're not going to hit on all picks. You're not going to hit on all your free agency pickups. You're going to swing and miss on some of those, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the way it is, dude. You know, you can't do anything about that. That nobody's perfect. Nobody hits on all their picks. Nobody hits on all their free agency guys. You got to hit on more than you lose. There's no doubt about it. But that would be a sweet thing, that if Dieter does come through and becomes your starting center, now all of a sudden now the third-round pick was a good investment, and the kid has finally developed into the player you thought he could be. You know what I mean? So this is why the competition, I am going to be rooting for Michael Dieter. I'm going to be rooting for the Dolphins, and Flo's going to play the best 5 guys. He reiterated that today in the press conference. But I'm pulling for Dieter. I am, because he's the draft pick. I would love Skura and damn it, what's the right tackle, the older player that they signed? Now I'm brain farting again. What's his damn name? Oh man, from the Ravens. He's also from the Ravens. What's his Anyway, I'd like for those 2 guys to end up being key veteran backups. Is what I want. I want Leichenberg to become the starter at right tackle, right? And then I want whatever the Fluker there. Thank you, Isaiah. Thank you. Oh no, Isais. By the way, DJ Fluker. Thank you. I appreciate that. And also Troy Ortiz. Thank you, sir. And Tremolio. Thank you. I'd like for Fluker and Skura to become those veteran backups to these guys. Give them that leadership, all that. And because they're vets, they'll be ready as always. If any of these young cats get injured and have a little bit of a setback, then Skura can step in for Dieter at center, and then DJ Fluker can step in for Eichenberg at right tackle. You know, that in a perfect world, that's what I want. And by the way, just out of a really cool thing, can you imagine if that does happen? Because if that does happen, then that means you drafted all 5 starters. That would be really, really, really cool if you could draft all 5 starters. That would be that would get me sexually aroused. Put it that way, because what hell have we gone through as Dolphins for many years? The offensive line, they can't figure the damn thing out. They can't get 5 guys ever. They couldn't get 3 guys. Okay? And when they famously had what Omar labeled the unicorns, you know, the 3 guys that they had well, that's when they were healthy. But you couldn't get them all to stay. You couldn't get Brandon Albert to stay healthy. You couldn't get Mike Pouncey to stay healthy. You know, so it's like it's one of those deals. What Juwan James was another injury-prone guy. So you had some good linemen, but they couldn't stay healthy. And then the few times that they were healthy, you were really productive overall. Because in the end, that's what makes you a great offense, is having a great line. And if somehow or another Dieter and Eichenberg can take over those spots, you now have draft picks on all those spots. That would be, I mean, an incredible feat for the front office. It would be a thing that would embolden all Dolphin fans. Like, if you're still on the fence about Chris Greer, if you're still not convinced yet and all that stuff, if you end up with the 5 draft picks starting, you're going to go, wow, we got a front office, dude. We got a hell of a front office. They found all 5 guys. It'd be pretty cool. So that's where I am. You know what I mean? I want the 5 best guys to play. If it's Skura and Fluker, then so be it, man. Let's move on. And then the young guys, they either, you know, grow into the position, or you cut them and you move on and you get new guys down the line, whatever it takes. I don't care. But personally, for me, I'm rooting for Dieter and Eichenberg to take over, because that would be the coolest thing out there, that all 5 linemen are your draft picks. That I would love, I gotta say. Don't forget, you can reach out to us on Twitter at Big O Show. You got questions on YouTube, you can post it on the Super Chat, which we've had several Super Chats already, and I appreciate all of you for sending in your Super Chats. Bushrod, yeah, that's another guy, right? He was like 800 years old. Yeah, Bushrod. Yeah, he couldn't even get to the second level by the time we got him here. Yeah, I remember him. No doubt about that. Anyway, so that's a little bit on the offensive line for the Miami Dolphins. What else did I see from the press conference? Jerome Baker's cap numbers were released. He'll make $4.3 million this year. He'll make $9.7 million in 2022, $11.9 in 23, $14.3 in 2024. He's got a $5.5 million signing bonus. So it's it's the kind of deal that he deserves. It's the kind of deal that's a market deal. And I don't think it becomes a crazy deal either, especially in the first couple of years. Obviously this is his last year of his rookie deal, but it got bumped from 2 point something to 4.3, and then 9.7 and 11.9 are not big. By the time you get to 2024, 14.3 is not going to be a crippling number because the cap number is going to be so enormous at that time. Linebackers are going to be making even more than that. So it's not anything that I would be worried about. It's a smart deal by the Dolphins. And Jerome Baker, by the way, has actually grown into a very good player for this team. And he deserves this contract. It sends a great message to everybody else that if you pay your dues and you're the guy and you've proven that you can be productive and be consistent, which Jerome Baker has become a guy that can tackle, there's no doubt about it, but he can cover, all right? And he's also adding plenty in the pass rush department, which is enormous. Fact that he can play the run and he can also, go after the quarterback, that's huge right there. Love that about Jerome Baker. So that's going to be that's a cool thing to have Jerome Baker in the mix, signed and ready to go. The other thing that I saw, and my man Armando Salguero, I love Armando. Lately, I've disagreed with some of his Dolphin takes. He's not a Tua believer and things like that. But he was talking about X. And obviously, X is going to be a subject that we're going to talk about a lot this offseason and going into the regular season because, it's a major issue. Now, it'll be a major issue until one thing develops, and I'll tell you that in a minute. But Armando was, I guess he's already emboldened on the side of you got to give him the money, okay? And for whatever reason, that's fine. If that's your opinion, that's good. I'm not the guy that says you got to give him more money and more guarantees. I think he's the kind of guy that needs to. I get what you proved last year, but you need to prove more consistency on the field and off the field before anything happens here. And remember, they've got other people. They've got Gesicki that wants a new deal and deserves a new deal. And then Agba is not a guy that I would give a new deal until towards the end of this season, that if he's balling, then I don't let him finish out the contract. That way I don't have to tag him. And I re-sign him before he goes into free agency. But I need another year out of Emmanuel Agba before I actually give him the money. I just have to. But for Gesicki, he deserves it already. So these are things that you're going to have to do in order to kind of keep your team where it's at. And I know some people are thinking, well, you're going to part ways with Gesicki at the end of the year and move on with Hunter Long. I don't believe that. I think they want to have two tight ends. I think they want to have that versatility to attack defenses. And so for me, Armando, when he wrote the article about paying him, he compared it to the cutting of what's it called? Oh, damn it! Now, it's brain fart day today, right? Vanoy. He compared it to the cutting of Vanoy and the cutting of Flowers, that they gave them multi-year deals the year before, and then they all of a sudden cut them, so it's 1-year contract and they're getting money, and it's the same thing, which it's not. Okay, they cut Flowers because they think they had to obviously work the cap, take that number off, take a certain hit but not a complete hit, because they've got enough young linemen and they've got a smaller cap. Vanoy, they've got a smaller cap. The cap didn't go up this year, so they cut Vanoy, and yeah, they lose some money on the signing bonus part. But in the end, it's because they've got Van Ginkel developing and they've got their team developing, and they feel that they can overcome the loss of Vanoy and the loss of Flowers. That's not an extension. Those are things that you're doing because your team is progressing and you have to deal with some of the cap issues that you have. And then he also compared it to cutting the coaches. You know, if you read the article today, you know what I'm talking about. And to me, it's apples and oranges. It's two completely different things. All of those people that he talked about, the coaches and the players, they weren't involved in domestic violence issues. All of those people that he's talking about, they don't have several knee scopes. All of those people he's talking about, they didn't give him $27 million guaranteed 2 years ago. And I get it, because he writes in his article that they gave Byron Jones $42 million or whatever it is guaranteed. Hey, things change a year or 2 years later. Suck it up, dude. That's the way it goes. And if Igbenogany becomes a hell of a player in 3 years, you will give him more money than Byron Jones gets. That's just the way it goes. So to me, I thought the comparison was silly. I thought it made no sense in my eyes. Okay? Well, that's why I disagreed with Armando on that. I don't think those were good examples. I thought those were terrible examples because it's completely different. And whether you like it or not, X, you're still kind of on double secret probation if I'm the team. You had already an incident this offseason. Even though you weren't the one involved, you still were involved with those people. And so you're still not making great decisions on who you're hanging with. And then you're involved in a domestic violence issue 2 years ago. And you've had several knee scopes, which it's going to catch up to you whether you like it or not. We're all human beings. And athletes, I know they seem superhuman to us, but eventually, scope after scope after scope, something's going to affect you. That's just the way the game's played. So, and here's the outlier out of all of this with the whole thing with X-Man. What happens if he holds out and Igbenogany balls out? Because you know what's going on. The player and the agent, okay, if they're going to hold out for more money, and they count on, well, you need us. What happens if Noah comes in and the light goes on? What happens? All of a sudden now, X-Man loses leverage. Miami, I don't know if they gain, because we go back to our podcast yesterday and I explained all the layers of trading X and how difficult it's going to be. But I will say this, if Noah comes out and balls out, then all of a sudden it becomes a completely different situation and Miami gains all the leverage. So by X holding out, there's a first round pick that is now going to play his spot. And they drafted him in the first round for a reason. And one more thing on this. Give Chris Greer a ton of credit for drafting Noah and being prepared for this right here. Because if you do have a holdout, you now have a first-round pick that is going into his second year, and hopefully he has matured to the point that he can play the position. And if Noah goes in there and plays and balls out and becomes a really good corner, then all of a sudden Miami's going to go, well, you know, we can accommodate a trade now. And they become the team of leverage now on that one, because they've got their player already replaced. They've got a star player that wants to find a new home, and then Miami can sit back because they've got him under control, and they don't have to deal him until they get the right deal that they want. And maybe there's, and listen, there'll be a team maybe out there that wants to give them the money, and you go ahead and go do it. But Noah is the key to all of this. And by X holding out, he is now giving Noah the reps he needs to take his job. And I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying Noah's going to ball out. I'm not saying Noah's going to be better than X. X is a beast, dude. He is. But he is a little bit of a problem child. And he, you know, I think to a certain extent, I think he's got the wrong perception of what his value is. You know what I'm saying? So that's the part that you have to really take into account with X, that he's been causing some problems here. And you start to weigh the baggage and the problems. And like I told you yesterday, if you're Flo, you're like, man, I've been here 3 years. And the first year I had to deal with this guy injured and a domestic violence issue. And so now I have to deal with a holdout. So in 2 out of 3 years, I've been dealing with problems with this guy. Distractions. The word that they hate in the NFL. The word that coaches despise. The action they cannot stand. That's that word right there. Distractions. They hate it. So that's a problem there in a big time way. But at the same time, Noah becomes the absolute key to all of this. Because if he balls, that puts X in a terrible position. And it puts Chris Greer and the Dolphins in the driver's seat. And I told you guys this a year ago on this podcast here. I told you that Miami has other avenues to create more draft picks down the line and enhance their draft status. And I told you X was one of those guys. Because the drafting of Noah allows you to develop him, and then you can actually move X, and you can then get rid of the guy that's had several knee scopes, because you don't know when it's going to go right off the cliff for him. You have no idea. It's going to happen. You can't have that many scopes and it not take effect. I'm sorry. And maybe that's why he also wants more money, because he knows that eventually time is going to run out. The sands of the hourglass are going to go through, and then the body's going to say, yo, father time caught up. It's over. We just can't take any more cartilage out of this knee. We're now going to start having tendonitis and arthritis and all kinds of itises, and it's a problem. So Noah is a guy we need to look at. We need to focus in on. We talked about Dieter. Noah's the other guy we need to focus in on, because he could be the catalyst to everything. He could be the catalyst to the Dolphins actually improving this year, because you replace the corner and at least you got a solid corner opposite of Byron Jones. And then it allows you to move a player that you can get multiple picks for to build even more for the future. Pretty cool. Now, that's if it works out. Okay? If Noah's a bust, then that puts all of the leverage on X's side and his agent's side. That's what will end up happening. Let's see. What else do we have? The defense is based on the D-line and cover corners like Byron. They do not need a ball hawk. CB trade X. Listen, again, as long as Noah can play the game, I'm with you. I get it. That's what I'm telling you. Noah's the key. Noah's the key to make everything become even more advantageous for the Dolphins. Okay? There is no way X holds out. Worst case, he plays one game and fakes a season-ending injury. This is what these players can do now. Leon, I don't know what world you live in, but he's not going to be able to fake an injury. Okay? It's got to show up on the MRI. It's got to show up on the X-rays. You can't just say, "Oh, my hammy hurts," and then it hurts for the whole year. Because then you'll trust me. Behind the scenes, they'll know he's dogging it. So it won't go that way. If he holds out, he's going to hold out right from training camp. We'll see if he's going to really hold out when it's all said and done. But it's not that easy. Nathan Noel says, "Welcome back, Big O. Thank you. And don't forget, please, hit that like button. We're at 99. Let's go. We want to get to 200 today. All right, so let's hit that like button. Send in your questions on Twitter at Big O Show. If you got any questions, I'll check my Twitter feed. And, of course, you can send them in here on the YouTube chat board. And, of course, a little super chat is always available there to support the show. And you go to the front of the line, of course, with your questions. Thank you, sir. Alan on Twitter. Zombie_Finn says, "Good points on the running back position." Thank you, sir. Thank you. Fins Up Gaming is putting up seconds of the video. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you all out there for. It's been really nice, man. I gotta say, it's been flattering the way the show has bounced back strong. All right, wow, over 100. Thank you, right there. Now we got to hit the record now for today. We got to hit to 200. That's the thing. We went 140 and 170 the first couple days. Now we got to hit 200 on the like button. So make sure you like, make sure you spread the word, share the live link, share the podcast, listen to the podcast. Again, for those of you that might be joining us now in the last 10, 20 minutes and didn't hear, I already posted on the podcast Brian Flores' press conference from today with the media. I posted the press conference and my breakdown of his comments. So if you want to listen to that, that's also there on the podcast. So once we're done here, you can go to that. All right, which is a beautiful thing. Wow, we jumped to 110 quickly. Love it. Thank you. That is enormous, man. Appreciate all of you continuing to smash that like button and support the show in a big time way. What else do we have going on now? Waddle. So Waddle, they're talking about a limp now. Waddle and the limp, huh? Well, let's get into a little bit of that. Safedine brought it up to Flo, and listen, some guys actually walk. Now it's not a limp; it's a strut. It's a gait in their step. I don't know if Waddle does that. I'm not exactly sure, and I don't even know if he's actually limping. You know what I mean? He's running really well. Everybody says that he's running pretty well. Look, all of these kind of things. It's like I told you guys yesterday that the go in a shell question from Cam, not that Cam was saying he was, but just mentioning it, and then Flores then following up saying he's not going into a shell. You are going to have the trolls and the soundbite type hosts, those hosts that they're only trying to stir crap up because they just want to get clicks and shock value to it all. I told you it was going to happen, and people were already going off on it. And it's so stupid because you're talking about a guy that came off the bench to win a national championship. There's no shell here. Okay, this is a kid that's played in all kinds of big games. This is not a guy that goes small. This is a guy that had the balls to rehab a hip in less than a year and be ready to get crushed by Michael Brockers. That's cojones, man. That's giant size cojones. Do you know what it takes to blow out your hip? That could be career ending. We were talking about maybe even blood flow being a problem, all those kind of things. It ended Bo Jackson's freaking career. Different types of hip injuries, but still risky as hell. And this sumbitch goes out and rehabs the injury in less than a year and gets on the field and is ready to take a beating from anybody that gives him a shot. And he took several shots. That sounds like a guy that's going to go into a shell? The guy that played at Alabama and started Alabama? That sounds like a guy that's going to go into a shell? You know, come on, man. And I told you they were going to go off on this. And so now Safid sees some kind of a limp, and maybe there was a limp. You never know. Maybe he twisted an ankle in one of the cuts. Maybe he stepped on something. And for a moment, you got a little pimp in your step. You know, like the pimp with a limp, as they say, right? So, you know, I'm not going to overreact on any of this because in the end, you would figure that if they're playing him out there in a mini camp, he's got to be 100%. If he wasn't 100%, they would tell him, let's wait till training camp. And then you would hear the reports, hey, Waddle's working on the side. Waddle's working on the side. And then the coach would say, hey, this is more, you know, cautionary. We want to give him a little more time. We don't really need him as much. We need him to have mental reps out here. He doesn't need to be going full speed. I want him going full speed in training camp. And coach could have fed you that line, and he didn't. So they have him out there. I believe he's 100% at this point. I don't believe that he's injured whatsoever. But we'll find out in training camp if Safid did see something that a lot of people didn't see, and maybe they were right. We will find out. But to me, this whole thing about, you know, having the limp and all that stuff, I just, you know, that does nothing for me, to be honest with you. Big O on Crowder and Hockman's show. They're still pushing a trade for Watson. They love drama. I mean, hey, man, they do a great job. It's a fun show. Those guys have a lot of fun. You know, I've said this before, and I know it sounds a little disrespectful in a way. I don't listen to them for sports. You know, if I tune in, it's because they're going to be doing something goofy and stupid and talking about something silly, and so you go along with it and have a little fun and laugh at it or whatever. But, you know, I don't learn anything in sports from those guys, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And that's not a show for it. It's not really a sports show. You know what I mean? But, you know, I'm sure some might find that insulting, but it's just, you know, Hockman's a great guy. I don't listen to him at all for sports. I don't. I've never learned a damn thing from him from sports. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's all depends on what you listen for people, why you listen to them. Now, if you're listening to them to get a laugh, great. But I don't think I've ever heard anybody tell me, oh, I learned something from Hockman today in sports. Not going to happen. It's just not. And I know it sounds terrible. I don't mean it to sound terrible. I think they do a great job in the way they do their show. It's the way they've got to do their show because it's the way Hockman's got to do a show. Hockman can't do this show because Hockman doesn't have this knowledge and he doesn't have this kind of passion to talk about sports this way. So it's a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? So they do things more for the shock value and have some fun with it and get a ride out of people, even if it makes no sense whatsoever. They don't care about it making actual sense. You know what I mean? I have some fun. I try to joke around some too. But when I'm talking about, you know, certain things in sports, I'm actually trying to have a legitimate conversation about it and talk about the serious angles to all of it. That's all. And I think that's why those of you that are listening, you're listening to me because of that. You're not really listening to me because I'm going to tell you my top 4 ice cream toppings or something. You know, that's not what I do. That's never been me. You know what I mean? So, you know, I get it, but it's not a show I listen to for sports. If I catch those guys when I'm in the car cruising around, It's maybe to get a laugh every once in a blue moon or something. But outside of that, it's not really about sports knowledge on that show. I hate to say it, but that's just kind of, whatever. So if you like their kind of, comedic style, then you tune in. But I don't think anybody's ever told me, oh my God, boy, they taught me something they taught me something I didn't realize. You know what I mean? And that's not, again, not a shot. It's just, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Even Hawk and Crowder admit they're not really a sports show. They know what they are. I don't think they'd be insulted. They'd admit it. Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You know what I'm saying? Big O, you streaming from home again? What do you think, Too Extreme? What does it look like? The media wannabe know-it-alls were slamming Tua for 5 or 6 picks in mini camps. Where are they now after he throws 6 TDs in camp? I mean, it's shock value, bro. Shock value. You know what I mean? That's all it is. It's shock value. Get a rise out of you all. That's kind of what it's all about. Everybody does things differently. But that's the way it is. All right, reach out to us on Twitter at Big O Show as always. You can also follow us here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. We're already at 115. Let's do it, baby. We want to get to 200 today on the likes. So if you're listening to the podcast, if you're watching it on YouTube, hit those like buttons, man. On the podcast, hit the like buttons on YouTube, all of that stuff. It's very, very important. It's one of the most important things that you can do for us is hit those like buttons and get those algorithms and the search engines going and putting it on more places so more people can find out about a little South Florida sports talk all around the world. Because as I always say, we are producing a show that is for the Miami sports fan worldwide. Because I never want to make it sound like it's only us here in South Florida. I deal with and exchange with so many of you that don't live in South Florida, and you love your Dolphins and your Heat and your Canes and your Panthers and your Marlins and Inter Miami and everything else. And so that's why I always say that's what this show is for. It's for the South Florida sports fan around the world. So I appreciate all of you for tuning in and supporting us and smashing that like button, because that is absolutely amazing when you're able to do that. What do you think? Should we trade X? Well, Thomas, that conversation, wait till we get to that point, and then we find out who's available, what team wants him, and then we can start talking about compensation and all of those things. We may never get there. X may be bluffing, and then he reports to training camp. And if he doesn't, then we'll find out in the long run what's going on. That's why I'm telling you, the Noah watch is absolutely on, baby. Absolutely on. A couple things I want to mention on the Miami Heat side here, because obviously Heat is always one of the hot subjects here. And yesterday it was announced that Jimmy Butler is not going to go to the Olympics. And let me mention something, that this is an awesome move from Miami, because this is a very interesting offseason for the Miami Heat. I think this is an offseason where they could set themselves back or stay status quo. I don't know if they're going to get better. That's up to Tyler. That's up to Duncan. That's up to those young cats, Bam. That's up to them to take that next step forward. Can Bam take that next step to learn how to shoot a little farther out and be aggressive on a consistent basis? On a night in and night out basis, play with that hunger, that desire that Alonzo Mourning played with, that Tim Hardaway played with, that Dwayne Wade played with. You know what I'm saying? That can he be that guy? These are the ways they're going to improve, because I don't believe they're going to be able to go get a whale. And then the other thing is, Jimmy's not going to go, and I get that. But what is Miami going to do about that extension? That supposedly they say, reports are he'll be seeking a 4-year max extension for $181 million. And that extension starts in the 2022-2023 season. Now, this is why I said the Miami Heat have two ways of going. They can either be status quo or they can set themselves back. Okay? I don't think they're going to go forward enough that they'll get to an Eastern Conference Finals or anything like that. I don't think they have that kind of team right now. I really don't. And I don't expect Butler to get better. I expect Butler to get worse. I expect Butler's body to break down more and more as time goes on. And that's why I say this is a really important time for the Miami Heat. They tied themselves down to 4 terrible salaries a couple of years ago and put them in a freeze. You want to, and what they should have done was sign a bunch of those guys, them or other guys, to 1-year contracts and stay liquid. If you give Jimmy that extension, you will now shut yourself out because you will now have an aging star. That's not what people want to team up with. LeBron James walked away from his best friend who was breaking down. These players are not stupid. They know their window is small and their opportunity is small. So they're not going to team up with a broken down Jimmy Butler. And so I hear this stuff about talking about extensions, and I really want to throw up. I love what Jimmy's done, but Jimmy's contract for 4 years is more than enough. He's got 2 years left. And after that, done, bro. If anything, you give him a fifth year when the 4 years are done, and it's a half the value or something of what you're paying him. Okay, and if he can hang around for a 6th year, then he's signing for an exemption. You know, it gets to a point where you value the player, but you cannot value the player to the point that it's going to set your franchise back. And by signing X, you end up, if you start giving him more money, that might be one less player you can add. And in football, it's not about one player. It's about a team. And so if you're better off trading X and you can move Noah in, and now you're paying him a rookie salary for 4 more years, it becomes really, really manageable for your cap because it's really important to hit on your draft picks. You know what I'm saying? And it's really important for your players not to have the baggage. Not that Jimmy brings the baggage, because he doesn't, but Jimmy is getting older and is breaking down. And it's obvious. The dumbest thing would have been for him to go to the Olympics and wear his body out even more. So Miami, it's a really interesting situation that they're at because they really can only get better from within. But they have the power to actually ruin their future by signing Jimmy to a long-term contract that unfortunately you should not be giving him. It's not that he hasn't been great for you. It's not that you don't love what he's doing, but unfortunately he's doing it now at the wrong age. At the age where you get worse as you get older, not better. And so to me, when I start seeing all these things, it's really more about from within, because the Kawhi Leonard thing is done, right? Look at him. He's injured again. And Miami sucked this year. They only were able to get to a first round in the playoffs, which is great personally for us that at least they got to the playoffs. But around the league, you're Bradley Beal. What am I going to? Washington's just as good as you guys. The Clippers, there was always, Kawhi will opt out and Riley will bring him here. Why the hell would Kawhi come here? Why? Makes no sense. Stay in your hometown and keep commuting over for the games. And you've done better than the Heat this year. And you guys have injuries. And hell, they won last night without him. So Kawhi is not coming here. You're not getting Bradley Beal. You don't have anything to trade for Bradley Beal. They're going to want players and a ton of picks. You have no picks. So again, that's another bunch of crap that some Heat fans fill their heads with. So to me, it's just, when I start to see all of this developing, I really hope the Heat make the right decision here and stand their ground and say, hey, Jimmy, we love what you've done, but right now we cannot commit to you on a long-term contract. We got to try to figure things out and try to build a championship team. We give you the money, we kind of limit ourselves. I don't know if they're going to phrase it that way, but, and let me tell you something. If you're going to lose Jimmy after that, because he's going to go a little bit awry after, well, then you made the right decision. But if you're Miami, there is no way you give that guy that extension. And if you're Pat Riley, didn't you learn your lesson already, tying yourself down to bad contracts? You've done it. You did it for a couple of years with 4 players. And that's the gamble right now that when I look at it, I find it to be kind of disturbing, to be honest with you. And I'm hoping that Miami makes the right decisions here as they rebuild their team. All right, don't forget to hit that like button. Dougie Fresh says, oh, speaking of ice cream toppings, here are a few I'd try. Rocky Road, Rocky Life 2, AT&T Chick Mounds of Heaven, 3 Prisons Pistachio, not made with pistachio. So glad you don't talk about this. Yeah, it's not my, whatever. It's just, hey, to each his own, man. There's space for all kinds of shows, man. It's pretty simple. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Good dudes. Wish them the best. Canes. I want to mention something about the Canes that I want to talk about a little bit here. And I saw in the Herald, I think it was David Wilson, who does an excellent job of covering multiple sports. David is like a jack of all trades, man. He's all over the place and does a really good job, actually. If you read David's work, man, it's very thorough. You can tell he does his homework, does a good job. But I saw the headline, which he doesn't write the headline, okay? The writers don't write the headlines. It says, could Ed Reed be the key to recruiting a 5-star safety in Kamari Wilson? And, I want to just kind of take a moment to talk a little bit about this with some of the Canes Nation that's out there. And listen, God bless you, man. We're all hanging in there and hoping that Manny can turn it around. But that's really what it's all about. I laugh when I see grown men get excited about a high school kid signing. And you can just sit there and make a long ass list of all the players that have failed miserably. Okay, absolutely miserably have failed. And they were 4- and 5-star recruits. It's the craziest thing to be getting excited as a grown man about a high schooler signing. This isn't about Ed Reed recruiting a 5-star, what's the name of the kid? Kamari Wilson. This isn't about that. It doesn't. You can recruit a bunch of 4- and 5-star players. It's not going to help you win. Mike Shula was coaching Alabama, and yet he couldn't win. Couldn't win the way they're used to winning at Alabama. Nick Saban comes in and takes over his recruits and immediately starts to become an impactful team in college football. And it wasn't because Alabama lacked talent. I'm sure Nick has improved that, even whatever Shula was doing there. But Shula had enough talent to actually get it done, and he couldn't. And that's because he's not a tenth of the coach that Nick Saban is. And I know it's hard to credit Nick Saban in this town because people get all bent out of shape, but it is what it is. The guy's the greatest college football coach out there, man. By miles. It's not even close. It's not up for discussion, nothing, dude. Okay? Dude's a beast. And so you can do all you want and recruit all these players and all that. USC, they can't get it right. You think it's because they can't recruit talent? You think USC has been a mess over the years because they can't get the right 5-star player? Get the hell out of here, bro. They can get 4 and 5-star guys. Look what Jalen Phillips did here. They can get the players. They can't get the leadership and the right coach. That's what it takes. And so really it's up to Manny Diaz. More than anything, you can add all these 4 and 5-star guys and all that. There's all this hype every offseason. And listen, I root for Manny. I wanted Manny here. I was happy that they brought him from Temple back here. All of that. But I have to admit, I've been disappointed in what he can do. And I really question whether he can be a good head coach. I know he can be a damn good defensive coordinator. I'm not convinced anymore that he can be a head coach. I thought it was going to be a no-brainer that Manny would be a good head coach. Right now, I'm dead wrong, bro. Any of us that thought Manny was going to be a good coach and make the transition, we're wrong right now. We're dead wrong. He has not shown me that in any way, shape, and form. I do love his off seasons. I do. He can find the coaches. He can make the right changes. He can get people to transfer in the transfer portal. He's done a good job recruiting, but he ain't winning like the way you got to win at the U. He's not showing me that. He shows me a team that's undisciplined, a team. Amari Carter. How many more times were you going to deal with him in a dirty hit? Like, really, seriously. Like, how does that continually happen? How do you have a guy 2 years ago on the sidelines laughing and joking it up while they're losing? Just things that have happened the first couple of years of Manny have turned me off completely in thinking that he was going to be a really good transition coach for the University of Miami. I thought it was, man, my crazy ass thought it was the perfect guy for it all. And so when I see these articles about this player, that player, and recruiting this guy, and it's so important and all that, I put no weight on any of that garbage. None. Zero. Zilch. Why do I do that? Because in the end, brother, if you don't have the coach, it's not going to happen, man. It's just not going to happen. Right? They went and got Kirby Smart over at Georgia. So has he gotten it done? Georgia doesn't lack any talent. And they thought for sure, oh, well, no, he's going to do what Mark Richt can't. Mark Richt has still been better than him. Still got farther. Kirby Smart still can't get it done. Because you can recruit whatever the hell you want, dude. If you don't have the right guy to put it all together, you're done. You're cooked. It's over. And that to me, this is why I kind of look at all this off-season stuff with a fisheye. Yeah, it's great you got Rhett Lashley, but show me. Yeah, it's great you got this kid to transfer and that kid to transfer, and it's great you recruited this 4-star and that 5-star. But, dude, show me on the field. Show me on the field your team can be disciplined. Show me on the field that you can be consistent. That's what I want to see. And so when I see these stories that David Wilson, I don't mean this has nothing to do with David or any of that, but I just find all these stories on the periphery to be an absolute joke until Manny Diaz proves that he is a legitimate stud as a head coach. I'm not talking about a mediocre coach. I'm not talking about an average coach. I'm not talking about a so-so coach. That's not what the University of Miami needs. They need a badass coach. They need a guy that knows how to recruit, knows how to develop, and knows how to win. And so far, I haven't seen him cut the gap between him and Clemson. Not one bit. There's no difference, his teams to Al Golden's teams going up against Clemson. So until I see that, then I can get excited about you recruiting a 4-star guy and a 5-star guy and that guy transferring and this coach being added. I can then get excited about that because the guy at the top knows what the hell he's doing. So I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was just something that I kind of get tired of the same old story. I kind of get tired about all the hype in the offseason and the hype on the transfers and the hype in the recruitment and all of that. I want results, dude. I want serious results. I want to see you make this program a contender. And don't tell me you can't do it because you can recruit those players. Those players will come here. So it's up to you, the coach, to make those players championship-like players. Can Manny Diaz do it? Is the question. All right. The other thing I wanted to talk about in passing, because I found it, I just find it kind of hilarious. Seriously, to me, I find this absolutely funny. So they apparently are going to test players. They're going to test vaccinated players every 14 days. Okay. Now, here's what I don't understand, and apparently it's going to be really hard on players that aren't vaccinated. In other words, it's going to be a much more difficult situation for them in order to play and to actually go through all of this process, just like the coaches too. What I want to know is, and look, if you got a medical issue, I completely understand. But by now, if you don't have a medical issue, how do you not get vaccinated? How did you make this political? You know what? We vaccinated people for polio when that was a terror in our lifetime. Vaccinate people for the flu. Vaccinate people for the measles, right? I think also, right? Vaccinations have been a part of our cultures forever. And all of a sudden, people want to make this an issue. And it's the most silliest thing in the world to be art. And you know what's my favorite? Is like they asked Lamar Jackson the other day, he goes, well, I want to keep that to myself. Well, just say you haven't vaccinated, bro. Seriously. Why would you keep it away from people that you vaccinated? Everybody you meet that's vaccinated will tell you, I'm vaccinated. They're not shy about it. Now, the people that don't vaccinate, they're the ones that want to stay quiet. Oh, no, but, I want to keep that to myself. What world secret is that? I'm sorry. What's it? Why would it be a big deal for you to release that you got vaccinated? No, the big deal is you don't want to say you didn't get vaccinated, because then the questions come with all of that. Like, why? What's the deal? And then you got to come up with stupid things like, well, they got tracking devices in there. Come on, man. It's pretty simple. There are no vaccinations and ignorance in India and Brazil. Look at the results. In America, we've got several people wearing masks, vaccinations, and maintaining distance. We have a percentage that don't, but most of us are doing it. And guess what? Our positive rates have gone way down, that we can actually get our lives back. Thanks to the people that washed their hands, thanks to the people that vaccinated, thanks to the people that have respected each other, because they're the pillars of the reason why we're getting back to normal. The ones that choose not to vaccinate, you're not helping. I'm just saying, you can make it all the political bullshit you want to make it, okay? But I see this with players, and I love it when, well, I choose to keep that information to myself. What the hell, bro? What do you think? It's something top secret? Just say it. You're keeping it closed because you don't want to admit that you didn't get vaccinated, and you don't want to deal with the questions, because then you got to come up with some stupid ass excuse why you didn't get it. Because there's only one excuse not to get vaccinated. One. I've got a medical condition that doesn't allow me to get the vaccination. That's it. Nothing else. There's no other discussion. Anybody that ever brings it up and tries to argue, just tell them, hey, India and Brazil have ignorance and they don't have a vaccine. They don't have enough vaccines for everybody. That's why less than 1% of their country is vaccinated. And why do you think they've got so many deaths? Why? Why do you think they're still dying over there? And why do you think it's dying at an incredible rate? Those two countries were ignorant from the get-go on the vaccine, ignorant about the damn virus, and they're paying an incredible price now. There's no argument here, bro. People make it sound like this is something we've never done, and we've done this throughout our lifetime. Things that have taken over, our world, like polio did century ago, and we had to vaccinate kids for a while for polio. You vaccinate every season for flu. Okay? I never get the flu vaccine. You know that? Never. But it's out there. And people get the flu vaccine all the time. There was a vaccine for the measles. This is nothing new. So now we have COVID, and we need a vaccine for that. And thank the Lord that most of us are getting the vaccine, because that's why we're getting our lives back. Those of us that are getting the vaccine, you can thank those of us that are getting the vaccine for the reason why our lives are getting back to normal again. Okay? So to me, this is the silliest thing to make this political when this is a health crisis. And all you got to do is look at India and Brazil. That's what happens when you're ignorant, when you don't believe in the damn virus, and when you don't have the capability to take care of your country. We have the capability. We're so good, we're actually sharing $500 million in vaccines with the world, because the most important thing is to get that vaccine in everybody worldwide. So everybody is as safe as possible, as safe as you can be. I mean, it's just really just crazy stuff, to be honest with you. But anyway, I just wanted to mention it because I thought it was the silliest thing in the world that you're playing football and you haven't vaccinated outside of having a health issue. And I still had to laugh at people they want to hide it, like, I don't want to tell you whether I'm vaccinated or not. Like, what are you hiding, bro? Give me a break. Let's see. Herm is under investigation by the NCAA at Arizona State. Who's Herm? What Herm are you talking about? What are we talking about here? What do you guys got there? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, Herm Edwards. Oh, okay. Arizona State. Oh. Really? Wow. I would never, I would never think of Herm to do the dirty stuff. I would look at him as old school and try to do things by the rules. You know that? That would be. But then again, you know what? Maybe Herm also did the right things, and he had a rogue coach. That happens too, and Herm didn't know about it. That could be a possibility. The recruiter wanted to make sure his job is safe, and he was willing to do anything to, get an extra recruit in there and make him look good. You just never know on these kind of things. But, it is what it is, man. I listen, it's college football. Then again, if they're cheating in college football, I don't think any of us should be surprised on that. Really good news to report. Greg Olsen, former Canes great and should be a future Hall of Famer at the tight end spot. Your heart goes out to his family. his son was able to ring the bell, and this is how the story goes. Ex-NFL star Greg Olsen, his son TJ, just rang the bell to symbolize the end of treatment after receiving a heart transplant. Olsen shared the footage of the special moment at the hospital in Charlotte on Wednesday, saying, "Today we rang the bell, and for the first time our family was whole again. To everybody who prayed for our little buddy and sent us words of encouragement and support, all we can say is thank you, and we all love you." That is awesome. He had a congenital heart disease that required 3 open heart surgeries before his 3rd birthday. He revealed last month that TJ's heart was failing, and doctors said he would need a transplant immediately. TJ was quickly able to find a match, underwent surgery earlier this month, and despite all the struggles, Greg says his son remained optimistic throughout the journey. It's amazing stuff, man. It's definitely it's a great story. It really is a great story, and it's, as a parent, I mean, that's something that none of us ever want to go through, is to see our child. As a parent, you don't want to bury your child ever. You know what I'm saying? And to go through these kind of things, I know that as I only have a daughter, but I only have one child, and it would just be devastating to me if anything happened to my daughter whatsoever. Okay? I mean, anything nowadays happens to any little thing, I'm worried sick about her. You know what I mean? Hell, I'm just worried sick about her driving from one place to another, check in with us. You know what I'm saying? So I can't imagine what Greg was going through. And let me tell you something. Greg is probably one of the classiest dudes that you'll ever meet in pro sports. He's just a really, really good human being. You know what I mean? And so you pull for him as a player. I hated that he returned. After all the injuries he had, I wanted him to retire already, but obviously you're going to do what you love until you can't, So I get what he's doing, but he is a guy that, man, he is so easy to root for, man. I got to give him lots of love in that area, because he is really a good individual. 126 likes already. I love it. Let's see if we can get to 200 today. Would be nice if we can get to 200, man. I appreciate all of you out there, as always. We have gone, what is it now? We have gone 2 hours and 13 straight minutes of talk. It's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. We're going to wrap it up on the show here today. I appreciate all of you out there, as always. Thank you all. Mr. Maldonado, thank you for the super chat. Leon Fresco, thank you, sir, for the super chat. JDM Wizard, thank you. Cap for Life, thank you. All of you that sent in a super chat, very, very, very kind, and I appreciate the support immensely. Thank you all out there for downloading the show like you're doing. It's going at record numbers, which we appreciate it. The likes are exploding. We're already at 129 there. Hopefully we can get to 200 and bust that record and move forward. And I can't thank you enough for all of that. Make sure you share the show, whether it's the YouTube, whether it's the podcast. Like the show, YouTube or podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube or the podcast. All of that. And remember, if you missed Flo's press conference, I have it all there, and my breakdown of his comments like we normally do. It's already podcasted. It was podcasted before we did this. So that's a little extra stuff. So instead of 214 that I see it's rolling right now, we're closer to 3 hours today, because that's kind of a half hour there with Flo, because it's his press conference and my comments also. So it kind of gets extended to, I don't know, it's like 25, 30 minutes probably. But you'll get all the comments there from Flo, and then my reactions to a lot of stuff out there. I appreciate, I can't thank you all enough for the support that you're giving us every single day and growing, and we really need it to grow in a big time way. So thank you very much out there, you all. I will see you tomorrow, as always, same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one. There we go. Now it's going to end. See ya.